Welcome, High Vibe humans. You are listening to the Golden Guyan Adventure podcast. Hey, all you high vibe humans, Breezy here, and if you didn't know, you're in a higher vibration now, so welcome to the Golden Guyan Adventure. Today's show is brought to you by the letter F, which stands for the fear response and forgiveness. We're going to focus on fight, flight, and freeze all the way to forgiveness. So how fight, flight, or freeze is the fear response and how we can use forgiveness to heal ourselves from that. So first, the fear response that we experience on a daily basis is something that's normal. It affects all high vibe humans differently, but it's important to be informed about this response because it can cause debilitating health effects like heart disease and gastrointestinal issues. This response is a direct example to how the mind and the body are connected, and the angels want us to shed some light on how our fear response can affect our choices, how our fear response can prevent us from connecting to our higher self. So today's adventure, first we will discuss the fear response, or AKA the stress response, as it's also known. We'll dive into the science behind these reactions, and we're going to normalize them. We're going to bring them into a space where we can all dissect them and understand them. And then we're going to discuss the importance of forgiveness in association with the fear response and discuss ways to counteract this response. And of course, we're going to ask the angels to weigh in on the topic. But before we get started, I just want to briefly call attention to what we've been talking about here on the show, the Golden Guyan Adventure. This show is truly dedicated to the evolution of consciousness on this planet. By sharing empirical information, empirically supported scientific information that helps you, high vibe humans, make informed decisions about the world around you. There are 3 themes that I like to call attention to in this show. The first of them is health. This can be anything from mental health to physical health in your body. For instance, we might discuss exercise or the importance of self-care as it pertains to mental health. The second theme that I like to talk about is light. This is the mystical, the spiritual, the conscious connection, if you will. This might take the form of conversations about angels, meditations, or the meaning of life, the meaning of your life, and what you think your higher purpose is. The last theme is the fight. I like to call attention to this because it's how we motivate ourselves to address social justice and political issues. And this refers to the human systems that we've created, the social systems we've created, that we are all a part of. And how do we inform ourselves about them and integrate this information into our personal realities and help continue to evolve those systems and connect it with the spiritual part of ourselves. Usually on the show we have a guest, but not today. However, normally I want to connect you high vibe humans with other high vibe humans in the community who are making those changes to the social systems in our lives. These are other golden Gaians who oftentimes identify as starseeds, crystal children, rainbow children, and indigo warriors. And I want them to share their stories here on this platform and share with you high vibe humans how they turned their life purpose into a career. So far, we've talked about action, we've talked about balance, we've talked about community, we've talked about the doorway to the self with Rachel, we've talked about energy with Angelina. And all of these episodes kind of had an emerging theme about creating a foundation of self-exploration, really using this information that we come up with from this podcast to explore yourself. Find out what your reactions are. Find out who your community is. Find out what your energy is like. And that helps you make better decisions and be able to support your community overall in the long run. So as we continue this adventure by exploring our fear response, I want you high vibe humans to know more about the fear response so that the more you know, the more you understand. Biologically, how the fear response affects you, physically and mentally and emotionally. Once we know this, we can know how to counteract the fear. So let's start off with a thought experiment. Get into a comfortable position, really settle in. We're just thinking, we're just imagining. So imagine you are in a lush, dense forest. The sounds of the birds echo in the treetops. The breeze rushes past your face and dances in the leaves all around you. The smells of the forest are rich and earthy. You feel at peace in this forest, serene. When suddenly there's a rustling sound and large shapes emerge from the foliage. Your eyes see brown fur and your brain instantly registers, "A bear!" Your pupils dilate. Your heart beats faster, pounding in your chest. And now your chest is rising and falling with each breath you take. This is your body's fear response. All right, you're safe. There's no bear. But perhaps you're still feeling the effects of this imaginative bear. This is the fear response. This is your body preparing yourself to fight this bear or flee from this bear. This is a survival tool. This has kept us humans alive for generations upon generations, fleeing from various threats, not just bears, but also bombs, also other people, also floods, famine, disease. This is a survival tool that helps keep us alive. It's very useful. Now, this response can get activated in society as well when someone cuts us off in traffic, when it's not that threatening. Like, for instance, when a friend says something a little upsetting, our bodies can respond as if we've seen a bear. And when this happens, when our response gets activated over and over again from the daily stresses of life, it can become health damaging. And to understand how the fear response impacts our health, we should review some science. Let's get some basic neuroscience under our belts here. Let's look at the nervous system. Now, normally when you think of the brain, you think of the full brain. We're just going to focus on the brainstem right now. So the nervous system is a collection of electrical impulses that have pathways all throughout your body. This system is split into two parts: the central nervous system, which is the brain, the brainstem, and the spinal cord, and then the peripheral nervous system. We're going to take a time to really define the peripheral nervous system for you. The peripheral nervous system also has two subsections, the autonomic and sonomic nervous system. Stick with me here. The autonomic system is the one that we're going to focus on. So automatically, we're thinking autonomic nervous system. This one regulates involuntary bodily processes, such as your heart rate, respiration, digestion, pupil concentration. So everything that's involved in the fear response. Now, a big part of the fear response is the sympathetic nervous system, which prepares the body for action. And the parasympathetic nervous system helps calm the body down. These things happen automatically without you having to think about them. So you're not sitting there in your chair or perhaps driving right now. You're not telling yourself to breathe. You're simply breathing. You don't have to tell yourself to do that. That is an automatic response. So when you see something that is fearful in your environment, your sympathetic nervous system automatically gets activated and your heart beats faster. Your airways relax so that you can breathe more deeply. A lot of other physical things happen too. People are familiar with your heart rate, your lungs, but did you know that your pupils also dilate so that your vision sharpens, or that your liver converts glycogen to glucose for instant energy? And your sweat glands, that sweating has a purpose, okay? The perspiration increases your body's ability to cool itself. So when you're running away, your body is cooling itself automatically. So sweating actually has a function. And digestion in the stomach slows or stops so that the blood that is usually used for digestion can go to the muscles. And your muscles get tense and large so that you can quickly run away. All of these physical things are good when there's a bear and you need to run away. However, if you're sitting in your car and someone cuts you off in traffic, this isn't going to do you a lot of good and could have negative health effects, which we will get into. Now, we've been talking a lot about the stress response, and this also has to do with the fight or flight response, which starts in the amygdala in the brain. When we were imagining the bear, I mentioned that your eyes saw brown fur and your brain recognized bear. That is the stimuli entering the amygdala and interpreting that stimuli. And then your body responds. So that's the part of the brain that helps respond to that. However, this prolonged response, when not told to calm down, can result in many different health effects. And I'll just list them for you briefly. We have anxiety, depression, and other psychiatric disorders, hypertension, weight gain, weight loss, acute, episodic, and chronic stress, as well as fibromyalgia and other nerve disorders, reduced sexual desire, exacerbated diabetes, coronary heart disease and heart attacks, an inflamed circulatory system. And that's just to name a few. So the physiological stages of fear, when they're activated over and over again, has been termed general adaptation syndrome. This was pioneered by a guy named Hans Selye in 1936. Now, this guy studied stress and studied the fear response and how it was activated over and over again and named the stages. So the first stage we're all familiar with. It's the alarm stage. It's when I shouted bear and you instantly got alarmed. It's when a stress or stimuli is new and the body immediately responds to it. This fear is usually brief, and when it is over, the reaction to that fear ends and the body is able to recover. So this is a very quick first stage. The second stage is when that fear keeps coming up. If you are consistently in that fear-producing environment, you can enter a stress-resistant stage. This stage causes the body to work harder. The body makes physiological changes to adapt. And in order to do so, it has to bring the immune system up to par. So your body is constantly working hard in order to adapt to that fear. The third stage is the exhaustion stage, which is now being called the dysregulation of the body. This is when your fear response is constantly activated. You're constantly having to breathe deeply. You're constantly having sweating issues. You're constantly having this response activated. And everybody is different, but one thing we have in common is that we all have a limit. And when we hit this limit, our protective immune functions break down. Our body suddenly turns into a robot and it's like, does not compute. System error, alert, alert. And the body is unable to keep up with this. So a mixture of events begins to happen. There's a lot of drawbacks to this prolonged response. And some of the drawbacks to this prolonged response is that, yes, it's great that your heart is beating to give your body more blood. However, sometimes blood flow to the muscles in the arms increases 300 to 400% when a person is stressed out. So the result, if you already have high blood pressure issues, or maybe there's a block in your artery already, if left unchecked, this could lead to cardiovascular problems or kidney problems because of how fast your blood is pumping through your blood vessels. Yeah, when you see something fearful and your breath starts to breathe really fast, your heart rate increases, your breathing rate increases, providing greater air supply. This is usually helpful, but the increased demand on the lungs can be problematic for people with lung disease, such as asthma. Anxious breathing is usually shallow and high in the chest, which is not very efficient. Try breathing shallow, way shallow, and rapidly. It's not going to feel very good, and you're likely to start feeling anxious and stressed. So you have to start to calm yourself down. So now see what happens when you begin to breathe slowly and deeply with your diaphragm. This is activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is helping to calm your breathing down. That is why meditation is often a very, very helpful tool. Meditation can help slow your breathing down and expand your diaphragm, which helps to calm your mind. And the slow breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the one you want to activate. And to remember that, just imagine yourself laying your head on your pillow. Pillow starts with a P, parasympathetic nervous system. You can activate it through breathing. Another negative drawback of the fear response is that the hypothalamus releases endorphins powerful enough to kill pain, right? These are super powerful painkillers. Now, this is really helpful if you're injured. However, if you have chronic pain, it depletes your endorphins over time. And so other pain-relieving neurotransmitters have to work harder to relieve simple painful things like headaches, backaches, and chronic arthritis. So you can actually begin to build up tolerance to your natural painkillers that you have, and you'll have to rely on other non-natural painkillers. These are just a few of the physiological drawbacks of the fear response. So how do you stay light in this state? How do you help bring your body back to a state of balance when you experience a very fearful situation? I mentioned meditation, which is often what I consider the go-to for first aid. If you're looking for something really quick, meditation, some breathing, or some body scans. You can also stay light in this state through the practice of forgiveness. Forgiveness is important to understanding how everyone experiences fear, and that's okay. Forgiveness doesn't condone negative behavior. It simply opens up the space for compassion. Doing a forgiveness meditation can help calm our bodies, activate the parasympathetic nervous system, and put ourselves back into a state of balance. Forgiveness and the act of forgiving ourselves helps to boost our self-esteem. And according to the Mind Body Health book, The Impact of Stress on Our Health, higher levels of self-esteem have a protective factor against the negative effects of fear. Now, if you think about it, brave people, courageous people, people that you look up to or aspire to be like, they also experience fear. However, there's something that pushes them to continue through that fear, even though they're experiencing it. This is the self-esteem of believing that they can overcome, and it helps protect them against the negative effects of fear. This high sense of self-esteem means that we appreciate ourselves, that we have personal self-worth, that we have a positive attitude and we see ourselves as competent. And this gives us hope. So what is self-esteem and how does it really relate to forgiveness? Well, with self-esteem, we're looking at two things, your physical appearance and your physical abilities, but there's also psychological determinants of self-esteem. One of them is how well we do in school or our perceived intelligence, how confident we feel in social situations, and how we regard ourselves. These are three psychological determinants that boost our self-esteem, that factor into our self-esteem, which is different than self-concept. And so practicing forgiveness is really essential in helping these psychological determinants, right? So practicing forgiveness if we fail a test or if we do something that was stupid, but we know we're smart enough or intelligent enough to do the right thing the next time. Practicing forgiveness in those situations, how confident we are in social situations, I recently had an embarrassing moment when I met someone new and I kind of made a weird joke. It didn't go over well, and I was a little awkward turtle. I had to practice self-forgiveness and say, it's okay, you'll be better next time, instead of adding a second arrow and hurting my own ego. So what are some fear-resistant qualities? How can we boost our self-esteem in addition to the practice of forgiveness? We can do this through 4 core principles that underlie stress resistance and well-being. And a bunch of scientists got together and they did a bunch of qualitative and quantitative surveys to determine what the 4 core principles that factored into resisting fear were. And so what they found was a sense of empowerment and personal control, a sense of connectedness and acceptance, a sense of meaning and purpose, and a sense of hope. These 4 things contributed to fear-resistant qualities. So, with a sense of empowerment and personal control, this is control over one's responses, not necessarily over the environment. So, through the practice of meditation, you can gain awareness to have control over your own responses. And this helps add to your ability to have fear-protective characteristics. A sense of connectedness and acceptance to other people and to one's deepest self. A sense of meaning and purpose. This is giving of self for a purpose or value, a caring sense of mission, finding meaning and wisdom in here and now difficulties, and a sense of hope. This is positive, optimistic expectations, a sense of being able to deal with any situation when it arises. And these characteristics were all gathered from several different theories. There was Maslow's self-actualization theory that factored into this, and Seligman's optimistic expectational style. And so this comes from like branches of psychology factoring in to help inform us on how we can become more informed about our fear response. Once we're aware of what we're scared of, spiders, bears, maybe a romance ending, perhaps we're afraid of starting a new career, perhaps we're afraid of, trying new food even, something as simple as that. When we're more aware of what we're afraid of, we're more aware of what steps we can take to overcome that fear. And I just mentioned some qualities that you can do meditations on in order to boost your ability to overcome fear. So doing a forgiveness meditation would boost your self-esteem. It would boost your sense of empowerment, your sense of personal control. It would boost your sense of meaning and purpose. It would boost your sense of connectedness with your deepest self because you're forgiving yourself and moving closer to loving yourself. So I talked a little bit about how to stay light in a fear response situation. Talked about forgiveness and how it connects, but how do you stay healthy? Because I talked about some of these negative health effects, right? Well, magnesium is generally one of the number 1 leading causes of death because it's often unnoticed. It's an unnoticed deficiency and it's very, very common. And magnesium has 9 health benefits that are super important. The first one is that it increases energy. It helps in the process of your body making ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, which helps regulate energy levels in your mitochondria. So magnesium is really essential to that process. Magnesium also calms your nerves. It's vital for GABA function, which is an inhibitory transmitter that produces the happy hormones like serotonin. And these hormones are regulated by magnesium. So if you're having serotonin issues, you should also be taking magnesium for calming and promoting relaxation. Magnesium also helps you fall asleep, so it can be used to treat insomnia. Magnesium supplements quiet a racing mind and relax our muscles. It also helps to control and regulate heart rate. making it easier for you to get a restful night's sleep. Magnesium also helps with digestion related to constipation. It also helps relieve muscle spasms and aches, and it helps regulate the levels of calcium and potassium. Magnesium is very, very important for heart health. So if you have heart issues, you should be taking it. The highest amount of magnesium within the whole body is used in the heart, specifically within the heart's left ventricle. So magnesium works with calcium to support proper blood pressure and prevent hypertension. And again, if you have hypertension, the fear response, when it's activated over and over again, can lead to even more serious health effects. So taking magnesium can also be beneficial for your heart. Magnesium can help prevent migraine headaches, and it helps prevent osteoporosis because it's used in so many important chemical reactions throughout the body, throughout the nervous system. So you can get magnesium from fun sources like chocolate and cacao. That's right. I like to tell myself that when I'm eating a bar of chocolate, I'm helping my brain. But in all honesty, there are other sources too, such as spinach, Swiss chard, black beans, almonds, cashews, bananas, avocados, potatoes, and pumpkins. So if you are looking to boost your magnesium without using supplements, you can do so through food. Let food be thy medicine. Okay, high vibe humans. I hope that that's informed you on what the fear response is, a few of those physical underlying things, and I'm going to take a drink of water. And we're going to switch gears. We're going to ask the angels to weigh in on these topics. We've been talking about a lot, and I think it's time for the angels to chime in. So first, let's take a breath and exhale slowly. Taking another deep breath in. And as we exhale, opening ourselves up to the energy of the angels. I'm going to draw a card from the Archangel Oracle deck just to see which archangel is here with us today. Which archangel would like to weigh in on today's episode? Archangel Azrael, comfort. I am with you in your time of need, helping your heart to heal. So, usually when we're in a fearful state, we seek comfort. We often crave comfort. That is probably where you're running to if you're fleeing from your fearful situation. So Archangel Azrael is here to remind us that comfort is wherever you need it because the angels are here with us in your time of need, helping your heart to heal. Soft, warm energy is filling me right now, and I'm really feeling the presence of Archangel Azrael. And we're going to shift gears to the Archangel Therapy cards. These Angel Therapy cards are going to open up a window to the fear response. We're going to tune into the angels to see what do they have to say about the fear response. Ooh, 3 cards. The first card, the crown chakra. Pay attention to your ideas as they are messages of true divine guidance sent in answer to your prayers. So tuning into those ideas as they arise. Vegetarian, vegan. So fresh organic fruits and vegetables give you a boost of high life force energy, which elevates your spiritual frequency. Connects right into our magnesium talk, making sure that we fuel our body with foods that help us stay healthy in a fearful situation. And cut your cords with Archangel Michael, here to clear any old attachments to fear from the past away. We're cutting those cords. We're cutting those cords to those past relationships. We are freeing yourself from destructive patterns at this time. So, what else do the angels have to say about the fear response? First of all, knowing your fears through your crown chakra, knowing them can help you truly answer those questions. Like, how do I deal with this situation? Know what triggers your fear response. So people who suffer from PTSD, people who have some sort of trauma in their life, sometimes when you're not feeling too good on a certain day, it might be because something in your environment triggered your fear response. Something reminded you of that traumatic situation. And so knowing your triggers is one way of helping you to heal from that past situation. And that's kind of what this crown chakra card is talking about. Knowing your triggers as they arise is like an answer to your prayer. Once you know your trigger, it's like an aha moment. So for example, a personal example of mine is knowing that if somebody touches my shoulder, I get super tense, and often I can be irritable for about 5 minutes or so afterwards. And that's because of my past abuse that I've had. Knowing that trigger allows me to, when someone touches my shoulder, take a deep breath and do a basic breathing meditation. And to me, that was a really powerful moment of knowing my trigger and being able to find a tool to help me calm down. And you can do that through the crown chakra, through a meditation, or possibly going to a mental health professional to discuss that with them on what will work best for you. And then the second card, the vegetarian vegan card, again, connects back to that magnesium talk, making sure that you fuel yourself and cutting your cords from your past fear. So these are tools. Thank you, archangels. Thank you, angels, for really chiming in on this situation. These are tools as well. So I'm really, really adamant about this vegetarian vegan card, eating fresh fruits and vegetables. Look at your diet. Look at how many acidic foods you're consuming. Try to eat more leafy greens, eat more fruits and vegetables that are more alkaline, that can help shift your body's pH balance from acidic to more alkaline. And being in a more alkaline state is healthier for your immune system. This state reduces inflammation, which is overall way more healthy for the body. So we've been talking about a lot, talking about the fear response, but I don't want you to give up. I know that these things can be difficult sometimes when you're in a situation that you can't get out of. You feel like you don't have any control over. But what you do have control over is your own response to the situation. What you do have control over is how you fuel your body, how you treat your body, how you prepare your body to handle a fearful situation. So how you can prepare your body to not give up the fight is through acts of forgiveness, by doing meditations on positive self-affirmations. Practicing forgiveness is one way to help support yourself psychologically, so that when you're physically experiencing the fear response, your psychological support system can kick in and you can begin to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which helps to calm the body down. Don't give up the fight by eating healthy foods, so that when you're able to psychologically activate your parasympathetic nervous system, your body is physically able to keep up with those changes, and it can switch. It can change on a dime. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me. I want to thank Bring Me to Life Network for having this show. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in today. If you are interested in having a private angel card reading with me, I have a summer special going on through the month of September. And you can check that out at goldengaian.com. I'm also doing meditations in the Metro Detroit area. So stay tuned to the goldengaian.com/events. for more updates on local events. I will be at Sweetgrass and Sageburn Festival, August 23rd to the 26th, doing an empowerment art therapy workshop. This is a art therapy workshop focused on decorating a jar with things that empower you. So we're going to build off of self-esteem that we've talked a little bit about in the show. And we're going to talk more about positive psychology and Martin Seligman, who I briefly mentioned today. That is a wonderful workshop that I enjoy doing every year. I've done it many, many times. And so I will look forward to seeing you high vibe humans at Sweetgrass and Sageburn Festival, a donation-based festival. You can name your price. So go pick up your tickets at sgsbfestival.com. And for more information, you can visit my Instagram. I do daily card readings at Breezy Spread Love. Thank you, High Vibe Humans, again for joining me today. Next show will be G is for Glass. And I will be interviewing a glass blower who is local to the Detroit area. I look forward to sharing that with you. And until next time, stay healthy, stay light, and don't give up the fight. Breezy, out.